Good morning, guys. This is Miss Fullington. I was just talking to the kids that today we are going to be learning something new. So today we're learning about what is called W.A.S.P. Does anybody know what W.A.S.P means? It's not the insect. So what it is women's in the Air Force. And so we're going to learn a little bit about, so it's called Women's Air Force Service Pilots. So these are specifically women that are in the Air Force, but they drive airplanes. So they fly airplanes and they're the pilots. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about them. So if you turn your attention, we're going to see a video about wasps and who they are.
Over 50 years ago, at a time when America was desperate for gasoline, money for war bonds, and a few good men, something extraordinary happened. Young women pilots from all over the United States quit their jobs and left the safety of their homes and families to Texas. Some came by car, some by bus. Others hitched or rode the train. A few even came by plane. But they all made their own way. And they came to Texas because their country needed them. They came to Texas because they loved to fly. It all began in 1942 when there was a severe shortage of male pilots. Jacqueline Cochran, America's foremost woman pilot, convinced General Hank Arnold, chief of the Army Air Forces, that she could bring together a corps of seasoned women pilots and train them the Army way, so they could replace the male pilots being sent overseas. When they heard the call, 25,000 young women from all over America volunteered. But the requirements for acceptance for women were tougher than for men, so only 1,830 of the 25,000 were eventually accepted to training. The first class of 29 young women began their training under extremely adverse conditions at the Municipal Airport in Houston, Texas. They flew dilapidated civilian aircraft that had been taken over by the Army until military trainers were made available. 3 months later, at a venture field near Sweetwater, Texas, the United States Army transformed the base that was being used to train male cadets into the first and only military flying school for women in the United States. When each class of trainees arrived at a venture field, they were given no special treatment.
Notice their uniforms.
They got to a room, ate in a mess hall, followed a strict set of regulations, and marched. They marched everywhere. They marched to the barracks, they marched to the mess hall, they marched to their classes, and they even marched to the flight line. Their training program was exactly the same one as the male cadets were going through all over the country. Ground school, flight school, cross-country flying, night flying, instrument flying, link trainer flying, and daily calisthenics. At the end of each phase of flight training, they were given Army check rides by Army Air Force officers in good weather or bad weather, dust storms or snow up to the propellers. Those who didn't pass washed out, packed their bags, and paid their way back home. Of the original 1,830 young women who finished flight training, only 1,037 graduated. They were honored with a dress parade at a graduation ceremony where they received their W.A.S.P wings and their Army orders and officially became Women's Air Force Service Pilots, the first women in the history of America to fly military aircraft. Their Army orders directed them to report to bases all over the country. To the Air Transport Command, the Air Training Command, the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Air Force, the Proving Ground Command, the Weather Wing, the Air Technical Service Command, and the Trunk Carrier Command. They wore official uniforms, lived in officers' quarters, and took their orders from Air Force commanders. They flew every type of aircraft the Air Force owns: trainers, fighters, bombers, in all kinds of weather and under all kinds of adverse conditions. They were flight instructors, and they were test pilots for new planes, old planes, rebuilt planes, and some planes that male pilots refused to fly. They flew every type of mission the Air Force had, except combat. They ferried personnel, hauled cargo, delivered aircraft from factories to bases and factory points of embarkation, and towed targets for ground-air anti-aircraft gunnery practice, and towed targets for air-to-air gunnery practice, all in the way that the gunnery trainees were using live ammunition. In less than 2 years, the women Air Force service pilots flew more than 60 million miles for the country. Maybe supreme sacrifice. Maybe truly cruel, but with no help in the country making their lives well. Unlike the male pilots, W.A.S.P families or friends to detain what they call a trip home. On December 7, 1944, 3 years after Pearl Harbor, General Arnold
Airforce was the keynote speaker at the graduation ceremonies for the last class of W.A.S.P. General Arnold said, "You and more than 900 of your sisters have shown that you can fly wingtip to wingtip with your brothers. If ever there was any doubt in anyone's mind that women can become skillful pilots, the W.A.S.P have dispelled that doubt. I want to stress how valuable I believe the whole W.A.S.P program has been for the country. We know that you can handle our latest fighters, our heaviest bombers. We know that you're capable of ferrying, target towing, flying training, test flying, and the countless other activities which you've proved you can do. So, on this last graduation day, I salute you and all W.A.S.P. We of the Army Air Force are proud of you. We will never forget our debt to you." 11 days later, on December the 20th, 1944, over the objections of General Arnold, the W.A.S.P were disbanded. At hundreds of air bases all over America, the W.A.S.P hung up their Army parachutes for the last time. They packed their bags, and they paid their way back home. There were no GI benefits, no fringe benefits, and no dress parades. Just the satisfaction of knowing that they'd done their duty and they'd completed their mission. Despite General Arnold's pledge that the Air Force would never forget them, it did. And so did America.
All right. Okay, so that was basically what WASPs are. So, what were WASPs? Bella?
Women who fly planes.
Yeah, the women who are in the Air Force that are pilots. They're service pilots. So, what they did was actually in Texas. It's called Sweetwater, Texas. It's about, I think about like 2.5 to 3 hours away from here, maybe 4, depending on how you drive there. But they were the first women service pilots ever to be made in history. So Texas is really important about that when they let women become service pilots. And what they did was work on the airplanes for the Army, for the Air Force that were to ride these planes. They even had to test these planes, and that's why they're called pilots, is because they were able to fly these planes to make sure that they were working correctly. So do you think this is in the past, present, or future? Maddox? They're in the past. And why do you think so?
Because it was black and white.
Because of what?
It was
Oh, the pictures and the videos were black and white. Absolutely. What about their clothes? Harlow? Bella, can you turn on the lights, please, babe? Turn on the top one. What did they wear?
uniforms.
They were uniforms, right? And they were like jumpsuits. Basically, jumpsuits means that they are one big uniform. So it had the pants and the shirt, and all they did had to button it up and then tie a little belt. So that's what they used as their uniforms. And it was very serious service. So it was really great that they let women they allowed women to enter the Air Force to actually do something for their country. Because back then they normally wouldn't let women get into the Army or any kind of service like in the military. So this is why it's so important, is because this was the first in the history to let women become part of the military. So they were in the Air Force, and it happened here in Texas, and that's why it's so important to our U.S. history. So what I'm going to show you next is how we are going to do our assignment. You can rewatch this video to get more ideas. So when we go into Seesaw, after you click the link to play the video, I'm going to act like a sample student. So I'm going to add a response, sample student. And then it says here, W.A.S.P, Women Air Force Service Pilots. So it says here in the directions, write 3 facts. You only need to do 3. So you can rewatch the video, tell me 3 facts. You're going to type your answer with the T. So I have the little box here. So I'm going to put the box right beside number 1, and then you can tell me 3 facts about W.A.S.P. So you need to tell me 3 facts, right? How many? 3. So go ahead and go into Seesaw, and you can rewatch this video to get more facts. And y'all have a good day, guys. Okay? Bye.